So it's 3 a.m. Again, you're lying there in the dark, just exhausted right down to your very bones, but your mind, it's racing through 100 different thoughts. You toss, you turn, and honestly, the more desperately you want to just fall asleep, the more elusive it becomes. If you're over 45 and you're nodding along with me right now, I want you to know I see you. I completely understand this exact frustrating nightly struggle, and you're absolutely not alone in this. We're going to go through some incredibly powerful natural plant additions in this explainer today, though of course, you'll always want to chat with your doctor first to make sure they fit your specific health needs.
Now, most of us just reach for a melatonin supplement when this happens, right? But here is the honest truth about melatonin. It really only gets you to the very edge of sleep. It literally does nothing for the actual root causes of poor sleep after 50. Things like elevated cortisol, depleted GABA levels, and a nervous system that is just completely wired and cannot switch off. But today, I'm going to share something truly incredible with you. We're going to walk through 10 specific plants, and I'm just going to plant a little seed of curiosity for you right now. The 10th and final plant we'll cover, it contains actual GABA. That's the exact same neurotransmitter that prescription sleep medications synthetically replicate. And the best part is, it grows as a perennial in literally any garden. I'll tell you what it is shortly. Oh, and I'm also going to reveal one massive evening timing mistake that most people make, which literally cuts the effectiveness of every single sleep plant in half.
Okay, let's dive into this by thinking of sleep like a giant swimming pool. Taking melatonin, well, that simply walks you to the edge of the pool. It just taps your brain on the shoulder and says, hey, it's nighttime. But getting into the deep end, which is where that real, deeply restorative sleep actually happens, that requires low cortisol, abundant GABA, and a genuinely calm nervous system. So every single plant we're looking at today is essentially a different tool for getting you off that edge into the deep end and keeping you floating there safely all night long.
Let's begin with lavender. What's truly fascinating about this plant is exactly how it works. Lavender contains compounds, like linalool, that actually measurably reduce your evening cortisol levels in a matter of minutes. Lowering that stress hormone is exactly how lavender gently takes your hand and eases you from the edge right into the deep end of the pool. In plain science terms, it's shifting your nervous system into a parasympathetic rest and repair state. To prep it, you just drink a warm cup of lavender tea about 30 minutes before bed and maybe diffuse a little oil in your room. If you want to grow it, just pop it in the sunniest, driest spot in your garden or even a pot on the patio. It actually thrives in poor, dry soil as long as it has good drainage. It's just a beautifully simple starting point for anyone who really needs that evening calm.
Now, to hold you comfortably in that deep end once you're there, we turn to chamomile. This brilliant little plant contains a flavonoid called epigenin, and what epigenin does is it binds directly to the GABA receptors in your brain. So, going back to our pool analogy, chamomile acts like a very gentle anchor, holding you safely in the deep end by just quietly turning down the volume on those anxious thoughts. It's essentially working on the exact same receptors as certain prescription medications, acting as nature's own gentle sedative, but without any of that awful morning grogginess. To make it, you just steep a large handful of fresh flowers for 10 minutes in some just boiled water. Out in the garden, German chamomile grows almost effortlessly. Honestly, just scatter the seeds in the spring or autumn, and it self-seeds so abundantly you're going to have a fresh supply year after year. It's a wonderful friend to have in your nighttime routine.
Moving right along to lemon balm. This incredibly fragrant herb contains something called rosmarinic acid. Now, its specific job is to stop an enzyme in your brain from breaking down the GABA you already have. By keeping that calming brain chemistry topped up, it cuts right through that constant hum of background anxiety, letting you sink even deeper into the water. For this one, just drink a cup in the afternoon and then maybe another one right before bed. Now, a quick tip, you will absolutely want to grow lemon balm in a container because it spreads very vigorously if you let it loose in the garden. It's an incredibly supportive plant to have on hand, but keep in mind that miraculous 10th plant, the one containing actual GABA, is still to come.
Okay, so if you happen to suffer from that incredibly frustrating habit of waking up wide-eyed at 3 a.m., passion flower is going to be your new best friend. This plant contains compounds like chrysin and vitixin. What they do is work on those GABA receptors to significantly increase your total sleep time, keeping you firmly anchored in the deep end of the pool by actually preventing those midnight interruptions from happening in the first place. You just drink it as a mild, really pleasant evening tea. And I have to say, in the garden, it is just stunning. You can grow it as a spectacular climbing vine right on a sunny fence or trellis. It's a gorgeous visual addition to your yard that also happens to provide profound, uninterrupted rest.
Next up, we have ashwagandha, which is a really powerful adaptogenic herb. The crucial thing to know here is all about its withanolides. These are compounds that actively step in and regulate your body's stress response system to bring those evening cortisol levels down.
When your cortisol finally drops, your body naturally just slides off the edge and right down into the deep end of the pool for that essential restorative repair. To take it, simply mix the root powder into some warm milk with a little dash of honey about 30 minutes before hitting the pillow. You can grow this one in a large container or a really warm, sunny garden bed. You'll want to harvest those roots in the autumn of its second year for the absolute most potent cortisol-lowering benefits to really quiet your system down.
Now forget about the beer for a second. The dried flowers of the hot plant actually contain methylbutanol. That's a central nervous system depressant that works synergistically with your GABA receptors. This provides a genuine, natural sedative effect that absolutely stops that 3 in the morning waking dead in its tracks, keeping you completely submerged in deep, restful sleep. You can just tuck the dried flowers into a small sleep pillow right beside your head or brew them into a soothing tea. As for growing them, hops grow incredibly fast on a really strong trellis in full sun. They're highly effective, for sure. But just a warm reminder here, we are getting so close to that ultimate GABA root. Just hold on a little bit longer.
Let's look at magnolia bark next. The inner bark of this beautiful tree contains a compound called honokiol. In simple terms, honokiol actively reduces the activity of the arousal pathways in your brain. So if racing thoughts are keeping you pacing on the pool's edge, honokiol gently quiets your mind so you can finally slip into the deep water. To prepare it, you steep small pieces of the dried inner bark for about 15 minutes to make a slightly spicy, comforting tea. You can easily grow magnolia as a magnificent, long-lived ornamental tree in your yard. Just a quick word of caution though, be careful when harvesting in the spring and absolutely never ring bark the branch. This majestic tree is going to bring genuine peace to both your garden and your racing mind.
Moving on to tart cherry, and let's see how this really builds our sleep foundation. We're talking specifically about the Montmorency variety here. Now, this is the ultimate natural source of melatonin, but it also packs in tryptophan and neuroinflammation-reducing anthocyanins. Instead of just handing you a synthetic dose of a hormone, it actually provides the raw materials your brain needs to produce its own melatonin naturally, gently guiding you right off the edge and into the water. All you need to do is drink a small glass of the juice about 30 minutes before bed. For the home gardeners, you can grow this as a lovely, small, self-fertile tree right in full sun. Now, before we reach our final plant, we really need to pause and talk about magnesium-rich plants, specifically spinach and pumpkin seeds. You see, magnesium is the absolute essential mineral required for your GABA receptors to function properly in the first place. Without it, your nervous system just stays mildly activated, and you simply cannot stay in the deep end of the pool no matter what else you try. Eating just a handful of pumpkin seeds and some fresh spinach daily corrects this deficiency beautifully. You can grow your spinach in cool garden beds and give pumpkins some larger sunny spaces so you get an abundant seed harvest. Okay, we're here because the most surprising plant, the one you've been waiting this whole time for, is up next.
We have finally arrived at the ultimate sleep plant, the one that is going to completely transform your evenings. Now, most people have actually heard the name of this plant, but almost nobody grows it, and very, very few people realize what it actually contains for an exhausted, desperate, sleeping brain.
Before I even name it, I want you to consider this number, 16. A massive meta-analysis of 16 randomized clinical trials confirmed that this specific root is undeniably effective at improving sleep quality, drastically reducing the time it takes you to fall asleep, and stopping that nighttime waking entirely. And it does all of this without any side effects.
That plant is valerian, and here is exactly why it is the single most powerful natural sleep medicine available to us. Valerian root doesn't just support the GABA in your brain, it actually provides actual GABA directly to your central nervous system. I mean, it is the exact compound that powerful anti-anxiety and sleep medications are trying to mimic, but it's just growing quietly right there in a cheap garden pot. It is the ultimate heavy anchor for the deep end of the sleep pool. To use it, you just steep 1 teaspoon of the dried, crushed root in hot water for 15 minutes and drink it 30 to 45 minutes before bed. You can easily grow it as a tall, really beautiful perennial in either sun or partial shade, harvesting the roots in the autumn of their second year. My friend, the most powerful natural sleep medicine in the world isn't out of reach. It grows beautifully right in the soil, and you can honestly have it within weeks of today. But I have to warn you, even valerian will not work perfectly if you make this one critical mistake. You see, most people try to fix their poor sleep 30 minutes before they want to go to bed, and that is a huge mistake. Poor sleep is almost rarely fixed in half an hour. These incredible plants we've talked about, they actually require a full, dedicated 2-hour preparation routine.
So let me walk you through this beautiful, deeply soothing evening routine. 2 hours before you plan to sleep, brew a warm cup of lemon balm and ashwagandha tea to really start lowering that cortisol. Then 1 hour before bed, snack on a small handful of pumpkin seeds to get that crucial magnesium in your system. 45 minutes before bed, that's when you brew your master blend, the valerian, the chamomile, and the passion flower. Sit down and drink it slowly, maybe right alongside a small glass of tart cherry juice. Finally, when you actually get into bed, have your hot pillow ready right by your head and diffuse some lavender oil in the air. Every single step of this routine gently takes your exhausted body down the steps, off the edge, and safely, securely into the deep end of the pool.
I want to thank you so sincerely for staying with me to the end of this explainer. I genuinely hope this valerian revelation, along with that 2-hour timing fix, gives you the absolute best sleep you've had in years. Starting tonight, please hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an explainer from us, and I'd love for you to answer 2 questions in the comments below. Which of these plants are you going to grow first? And honestly, were you making that 30-minute timing mistake before today? Let me know. I promise to read every single comment. Sleep well tonight, take very, very good care of yourself, and just remember, the cure for your deepest exhaustion might just be waiting right out there in the soil.